Hi, you're watching Reddit Confessions. She stepped into the house like a scene from a romantic comedy. Sun-kissed skin, oversized sunglasses still on, hair perfect like the wind had styled it just for her. Her suitcase thudded on the floor as she twirled her wrist, showing off some new gold bracelet I'd never seen before. Oh my God, you would not believe how exhausting it was. She laughed, not looking at me. But babe, we nailed the pitch. I nodded. That's all I could do, because I wasn't looking at the bracelet. I was looking at the luggage tag on her suitcase. Cancun. She told me the corporate retreat was in Salt Lake City. There was no reason for me to check the tag. No reason at all. And yet, there I stood, sweating in a hoodie, 3-day beard, heart thudding in my ears, as I read it 3 times just to be sure. Cancun. I wanted to believe it was a layover. I really did. I wanted to believe there was a good explanation, that she accidentally grabbed someone else's bag, that her company changed destinations last minute. But none of those explanations would account for the tan lines in places I'd never touched, or the hotel keycard peeking out of her tote bag, or the scent of men's cologne on her scarf, tucked under her neck like some kind of trophy. She didn't notice me staring. She walked into the kitchen and opened the fridge like nothing was wrong. "Why's all the food gone?" she asked. Because I didn't shop. Because I hadn't eaten in 2 days. Because while she was gone, I wasn't hungry. I was unraveling. I had already canceled our joint credit cards. Already locked her out of the shared accounts. Already copied every document from the drawer she thought I never opened. And in my pocket, printed photo. Her. Him. 1 beach chair. 1 drink with 2 straws. I didn't plan to say anything. I thought I'd just leave it on the counter and walk out. But then she turned, still smiling, and said, "I missed you, babe. You have no idea." And just like that, her smile died. She froze mid-step, eyes locked on the photo I had just slid across the granite countertop. Her fingers stopped playing with the bracelet, and that sweet post-vacation glow began to drain from her cheeks. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. That one image said everything I hadn't been brave enough to voice for months. Tessa leaned forward slowly, almost like she hoped she'd see someone else in that picture. But there was no mistake. The hotel's beachfront cabanas were behind her. The timestamp in the bottom corner was just 3 days ago, and the man beside her was not her coworker Amanda, as she claimed she'd be traveling with. He was a man in a red floral shirt, sunglasses perched on his head, his hand gripping her thigh under the table. I didn't know who he was yet, but his comfort with her body spoke volumes. She blinked hard. "Norman, I can explain." "Can you?" I asked, voice cracking before I could stop it. "Because it's pretty straightforward from here." She opened her mouth again, but nothing came out. I could tell she was scanning for a lie she hadn't rehearsed. Her eyes darted to the suitcase, the bag, the keycard, the tag, like she'd forgotten how many things she left behind, like she didn't expect me to actually notice. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was just a fling," she whispered. "A stupid, stupid mistake." I let out a sound, half laugh, half groan. "A fling? Tessa, I have screenshots, emails, your flight confirmation. You weren't even registered at the conference. You were never in Utah." She stepped back, hands shaking slightly. "You went through my stuff?" "Yes," I said louder now, because my wife came home from Cancun after lying to my face and smiling like she just got a promotion. "You want to be mad at me for checking?" She sank into the kitchen stool, and for the first time in years she looked small. Not confident, not in control, just caught. It should have felt like justice, but it didn't. It felt like watching a house you spent years building get knocked down brick by brick, by the person who helped you build it. "I wanted to tell you," she said finally, "but I thought I could end it. Come back. And just forget it happened." "You wore his cologne home," I said quietly. "You brought his scent back into our house." Tessa's face crumpled. "I don't love him." "Then why were you holding hands like high school sweethearts in a place you swore you'd never go without me?" The silence was unbearable. I pushed the photo closer to her. "I made a copy. The original's already with a lawyer." Her head snapped up. I didn't smile. I didn't yell. I just stood there. Tired, hollow, and more certain than ever that I couldn't do this anymore. She reached out for my hand, but I stepped away. You made your choice, I whispered. And I made mine while you were sipping cocktails with a stranger. Tessa didn't cry. That's what surprised me most. She didn't beg, didn't fall to her knees, didn't even try to deny it anymore. Instead, she just sat there, blinking slowly like her brain hadn't caught up with reality. Maybe she thought she still had time to fix it, to manipulate her way back into control. But she didn't realize. I had been unraveling quietly for months, one thread at a time. I left the kitchen and went to the living room. The suitcase was still near the door, unopened. I stared at it for a moment before kneeling beside it. The zipper was still warm from her hand, and when I pulled it open, the scent hit me again. Ocean breeze, coconut, and cologne. Someone else's scent, embedded into my wife's clothes. And then I saw it. Buried under a beach towel and a pair of expensive sandals was a small velvet box. I hesitated. My fingers hovered over it like it might burn me. Finally, I picked it up, opened it, and stared down at the gold band inside. A ring. A man's ring. It didn't take a genius to put it together. The bracelet on her wrist? Not a purchase. A gift. This ring? Not forgotten. Just hidden. My chest tightened as I turned the ring over. There was an engraving on the inside. T+ are worth the risk. R. His name started with R, and apparently she was worth his risk. That same minute, my phone buzzed in my pocket. One new message. Unknown number. Let her go, man. She's not yours anymore. I stared at it for a long time. My ears rang like someone had struck a gong beside my head. I didn't know whether to laugh or throw the phone through the window. Tessa's voice came from behind me. Quiet. Norman. Please don't do something stupid. I turned to face her. Stupid? Like trusting you? Like building a life with someone who cheats in oceanfront resorts while I'm home folding your laundry? She flinched. I held up the ring box. What's this? A joke? A souvenir? Her face went pale. She didn't answer. That told me everything. I walked past her, through the hallway, and straight into our bedroom. I pulled out a duffel bag and started packing. Not my clothes, hers. Sweaters, makeup, perfume bottles. Anything that smelled like her. By the time I came back to the kitchen, she was still in the same chair. She looked at the bag, then at me. You're kicking me out? She asked, voice thin. No, I said, setting the bag by the door. I'm giving you back what was never really mine. She didn't touch the bag. She just stared at it like it was a bomb I'd placed by the door. I watched her face cycle through emotions. Shock, anger, fear. But the one I kept searching for, guilt, never showed up. That bothered me more than the affair. It was like she didn't understand the damage she caused. Like she thought she could explain her way back into my arms if she just found the right excuse. Tessa? I said flatly. Whose ring is it? Silence. I stepped closer, holding up the box. The engraving. You didn't even bother hiding it. Her eyes welled up, but still no answer. That's when my phone buzzed again. Same number. This time it wasn't a message. It was a voice note. My heart hammered as I played it. A man's voice. Casual, confident, and far too familiar with my life. Tell Norman it's over. He deserves to know he was just a placeholder. We'll pick up your stuff this weekend. Love you. I stood frozen. The kitchen felt 10 degrees colder. I could hear her breathing behind me, shallow and panicked. You gave him my number? I asked without turning. It was a mistake, she whispered. I laughed bitterly. Which part? Giving him my number or giving him your life? I played the voice note again, louder this time. Let her hear what she'd brought into our home. Let her hear the smugness in that man's voice. Let her understand what kind of man she threw our marriage away for. I didn't mean for this to go that far, she said, finally standing. It was supposed to be temporary, just an escape. You didn't mean for it to go far? I snapped. You were engaged in Cancun. Do you even hear yourself? She didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the bag I had packed and unzipped it slowly. She began pulling her things out one by one, methodically, like reclaiming territory, like she still thought this was salvageable. I'm not going anywhere, she said coldly. This is my house too. I stepped back, watching her unravel my decision as if her presence still held power. But she had no idea what else I'd already done. No idea about what was waiting in the mailbox. No idea about the letter I sent to her HR department. No idea that the flight she thought I didn't take, I did. And what I found at that resort. She wouldn't see it coming. She didn't know I had gone to Cancun. She thought she got away with it. 4 days of sun, sand, and another man's hands, while I sat back home checking our bank statement for conference meals. But after I saw the shoes under the guest bed, I started documenting everything. I knew if I didn't build a case, she'd turn this all around on me. She always did. The guilt, the confusion, the way she'd spin my doubt into insecurity. She was good at it. Scarily good. So while she was gone, I flew down there. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even bring luggage. I booked a last-minute round-trip ticket, rented the cheapest car I could find, and drove straight to the Beaumont Resort. At first, the front desk wouldn't give me anything. No room numbers, no guest logs. But I had a screenshot. Tessa in a beach chair with the hotel's logo in the background, dated and geotagged. When I told them I was her husband and showed them the photo, the woman behind the counter glanced down, then quietly said, "Room 214. I made my way down the open-air hallways, heart pounding. I didn't know what I was going to do. Knock? Confront her? Walk away? But when I got there, the door was slightly open. Music played inside. Low, rhythmic, beachy. I heard a man's voice, laughing. And then hers, laughing harder. I pushed the door an inch further, and there it was. Her suitcase on the floor. Her shoes kicked off in the corner. 2 wine glasses on the nightstand. And a silk dress I'd never seen before hanging from the bathroom hook. I didn't step inside. I took photos. Not of them. I'm not that kind of guy. But of the room, the setup, the timestamp. Evidence. I left without being seen. Now, back home, she was still arguing over drawer space, completely unaware that in my jacket pocket sat printed proof from 2,000 miles away. She thought this was about hurt feelings. She had no idea this was already legal. 3 days after she returned, a package arrived at the house. Came in a plain brown envelope with no return address. I knew exactly what it was. I had mailed it to myself from a copy shop across the street from the resort, just before flying back. I wanted to be absolutely sure it would arrive after she got home, when she least expected it. Tessa was in the shower when I heard the mailbox clink open. I grabbed the envelope before she could see it and stood in the kitchen, staring at it for a long time. Inside were 6 printed photos. The hotel door marked 214. Her sandals on the carpet, the wine glasses, the dress. All time-stamped, all undeniable. But it wasn't the photos themselves that mattered. It was what I attached to them. A note, handwritten. It said, "You're right. I deserved the truth, not the performance." I sealed the note and the photos into a second envelope and placed it on her nightstand under her phone, knowing she'd find it before bed. Then I waited. I didn't go to the bedroom when she did. I stayed in the den, pretending to watch something on mute. At 11:17 p.m. I heard a thud, the sound of the envelope hitting the floor. Then nothing. No footsteps, no confrontation, no tears. The next morning, she was dressed earlier than usual. Full makeup, hair done, keys in hand. "I'm going out," she said, barely looking at me. "For how long? I don't know." She left. But I wasn't worried, because I also sent a copy of that envelope somewhere else, to a man named Raymond Kessler, the regional VP of marketing at her firm. The same name listed on the back of the ring box I found in her suitcase. He wasn't just her affair partner. He was her superior, the one she'd introduced me to at a holiday party 2 years ago while calling me her rock. I wanted her to know that even if I didn't scream, even if I didn't rage or smash anything, I had still flipped the board. She was out there, probably scrambling to fix the mess. And I was home, calm, waiting, because the real fallout hadn't even started yet. For 2 days, Tessa didn't come home. No texts, no calls, nothing, just silence. I didn't chase her. I didn't check the tracker on her car or call her friends to see if she's okay. I wasn't the guy crying on the couch anymore. I wasn't the man doubting himself in the mirror, wondering if her disinterest was his fault. I was the man waiting for the second domino to fall. And it did. Thursday morning, 9:42 a.m. I received an email from a law firm. Short, cold, clinical. Your anonymous documentation has been received. As of this morning, Raymond Kessler has been placed on administrative leave pending internal investigation. I read the message twice, then sat back, letting the weight of it settle. She hadn't told him. She hadn't warned him. She probably thought I was bluffing. But I wasn't trying to ruin her career. I was trying to end the performance. To pull the curtain on this little affair that had consumed every part of my life while she waltzed through it like it was all temporary fun. I didn't know if she'd lose her job. That wasn't up to me. But I knew what it would mean for her reputation. For both of theirs. The golden couple of the office retreat, exposed by one man's quiet persistence. That night, I heard the front door open. She didn't step in like she used to. No announcement. No confidence. Just the soft, creaking sound of the hinges and a figure slipping inside like a ghost who wasn't sure she still belonged. I stayed seated in the living room. She walked in slowly, still in heels, still dressed like she wanted to impress someone. But this time her hands were empty. No shopping bags. No luggage. Her eyes were puffy, makeup smeared, hair undone. She sat on the arm of the chair across from me and exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for 48 hours. "Why did you send it to him?" she finally asked. "I didn't," I replied. She narrowed her eyes. "I sent it to his supervisor." For the first time since this began, her face fell into something close to panic. "You've ruined everything," she whispered. "No," I said. "You did that. I just turned on the lights." She didn't say another word that night. No tears. No apology. Just the echo of "you've ruined everything," still hanging in the air, like she believed that sentence would make me flinch. But I didn't. I didn't know her panic. I didn't know her softness. The next morning, she was gone again. No note. No breakfast. Just gone. But this time, I didn't feel abandoned. I felt relieved. In the weeks that followed, the silence in the house became peaceful. No fake phone calls in the bathroom. No midnight showers with locked doors. No second toothbrush by the sink that made my stomach twist. It was just me. And for the first time in years, that felt like enough. I filed for divorce. Quietly. Respectfully. No drama. No drawn-out court scenes. She didn't contest it. Maybe because she knew there was nothing left to fight for. Or maybe because the office scandal had drained every last drop of her energy. Raymond? He resigned voluntarily, though the statement they released used corporate words like restructure and new opportunities. Tessa kept her job, surprisingly, but she was moved to a satellite office 3 hours away. I imagine her long drives give her time to think. I kept the house. I repainted the living room, got new sheets, bought the brand of coffee I always wanted but she thought was too strong. I even rescued an old beagle named Gus from the shelter down the road. He doesn't say much, but he never lies, and he never disappears for 4-day retreats. Funny how healing doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it just looks like making breakfast without wondering who your wife is texting. This whole thing didn't make me stronger. It didn't make me tougher. It made me clear. I don't need to become someone new. I just need to never again betray myself for the sake of someone else's illusion. So yeah, she walked into the house smiling, believing she'd fooled me again. But when the truth walked in behind her, she was the one who vanished. And I stayed, still here, still standing, and finally at peace. Thanks for watching Reddit Confessions. What moment from this story hit you the hardest? Was it the voice message? The hotel visit? The envelope? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us for more stories just like this.